All things must fabulous right here. Spirit. All things must fabulous. It's all about the kingdom. All things must fabulous. All things must fabulous.
Welcome, guys. Welcome to All Things Musfabulous. As you can see, Musa is not here, and I'm trying to stand in. I'm not used to the intro, but I'm bringing you energy, and that's all that matters, guys. That is literally all that matters, because at this point I am freaking out. But I promised Musa that we will be doing a great job without her. She's not feeling well, but she will be definitely in the next video. We are not doing some tag team situation thing. We actually do want to be in the video together at the same time, but it's not working out, and it's all right. It's all right. That's a lot of butts, yes, because I'm freaking out. Welcome, guys. Welcome to All Things Musfabulous. As I said, thank you so much for all the subscribes, the likes, the support that we've been getting over the past few weeks. It's so amazing that you guys are relating, that you guys are loving it and enjoying yourselves, and just being vulnerable and growing with us, actually. But yeah, I think at this point I need to mention that you need to check out, if you haven't already, our previous episode with Noloyi. So super amazing. You guys need to check that out if you haven't already. And we also had a live Instagram session. If you missed that, and if you missed that as well, I don't know what you're doing. Like, I need you to keep up. But we had a live Instagram as well with the amazing Janine, who is a registered counselor, who was also just giving her input on the vulnerability, and it was a really good session. So if you haven't checked that out yet, you can still go on to Musa's Instagram at Musfab and just check that out, like it, come back here, and then you subscribe. And then you go back to Instagram and you follow. But definitely everything is still out there for you guys to check out, and you can always just catch up. But let me say no further, and that's the last part I'm using. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Nikita, the amazing, the most fabulous. Hello. How are you doing?
I'm good, and you? Thanks for having me.
It's an honor to have you here. Really, I'm excited to have you here. I'm excited to have this conversation with you.
Yes, I'm so excited to have this conversation.
Yes. I think we've definitely, as you guys would know, we've been doing the vulnerability and growth series. And it's been a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Yes. I think even with the people, like, sharing their sides of the stories, we've had Noloyiso joining us. It's been good, one. And it's so nice to hear people's different perspective on vulnerability and growth. And I am super excited to get to know your side and your vulnerability and areas that you feel like you've grown in, or like, something that you want to share or whatever. So yeah, let's get into the conversation, man. Yes. I think let's just start from the top, as we do. Vulnerability. What does it mean to you?
Sure. Okay, so vulnerability to me is openness, a sense of authenticity. I would summarize it in those two words specifically. I think that openness and authenticity can be used in any spheres, can be used in the work forum, it can be used in relationships and any and all types of relationships. So openness and authenticity. I think that it takes courage to be vulnerable. Vulnerability also takes different forms. Vulnerability is not only crying and experiencing one emotion.
So true.
It's not just one emotion. It can take different forms, I believe. Vulnerability could be boundaries. Putting up boundaries. Vulnerability could be communicating your emotions or articulating your feelings. And this is not gender specific. This goes across all spheres.
All spheres. That's very important to mention.
Vulnerability could look very different for a lot of different people. Of course, we are most familiar with being completely open with our emotions and allowing our emotions, such as crying, or just maybe even being upset with someone. That's also, you're vulnerable. You opening up your 3 emotions.
Exactly.
So it takes a lot of different forms. Vulnerability could be found in music as well, in our artists. So it's actually quite broad, and I do believe that vulnerability can be powerful as well if it's used correctly. And it's applied in the correct context as well.
That is so good. Yeah, that is so true. I think what you mentioned also is very important, because I think a lot of the times we think that vulnerability is only expressed in one way, but it's so important to mention that it can be expressed in different ways, healthily. I think sometimes if you bottle things up because you feel like I cannot do this or whatever, then find another way to maybe express it that's more comfortable for you. It doesn't have to be telling someone about how you're feeling or whatever. Maybe it means actually just like writing it down. I think that's one of the things we had with Janine on the live, is just write it down. Everything that you have inside your head, just write it down. Like, there's different ways to express it, and to be vulnerable. Find something that's comfortable for you, but still that allows you to like express yourself and get everything out. That is so true.
Another point I want to mention on vulnerability. Vulnerability can be being yourself. It takes courage to be yourself in front of people, especially people that you don't know. Vulnerability, I'm speaking out of what I've been experiencing lately. Also just I think women tend to do this. We cover up our emotions. And so for me, vulnerability, how it has been speaking to me is kind of shutting down what I might look like in front of people, in front of certain people, and actually allowing my guard down, like allowing, so like, this is how I feel right now, this is who I am right now, this is authentically how I'm feeling right now, this is authentically who I am right now. Obviously we walk with wisdom, and we choose the places where we choose to display this, so like in a work photo, it wouldn't be very wise to display like how upset your friend made you feel, know. So but back to my point, which
time and place for everything.
Yes, exactly. So back to my point, which is it takes courage to be yourself in front of people. This has been something that I've been working towards, strangely enough, and there's a story behind that. But I don't want to go into it just yet. But it has been a struggle for me, because we've got this facade that we walk around with, whether we acknowledge it or not. As soon as you're different to when you're alone in your bedroom versus when you're in front of family, versus when you're in front of friends, versus when you're in front of colleagues. And if we look at it in retrospect, that isn't necessarily a bad thing, but when we are experiencing when our inner selves are experiencing emotional turmoil, we tend to have this facade come up. And then we start to perform. We start to put up this. I think the notion we're running with is, I need to be this type of person everywhere. And then later on, it runs into a couple of problems, because now you haven't given yourself the opportunity to unmask that and actually be like, oh, this is actually how I'm feeling, guys.
Exactly.
Like, my jokes are not on 100.
Exactly.
This is how.
That's so true. Because you've been playing that, and so it's at some point it's like, I actually can't be a different type of person because I've been this person for a while. You feel like, okay, if I've been like the strong girl, then I need to keep going with that strong girl type of vibe. I can't be, not that you can't be weak, but you feel like if you do become weak, to say, then it's like, I'm not in a mood to actually be getting any comments from it. I don't want anyone to be like, oh, like, what's up or whatever, even though inside it's like, this is just how I feel right now. Can I just chill and not do anything and not care and let that just be? But then it's like the thing of like, oh no, why are you different now? Oh, so now you don't greet everybody anymore. I just don't feel like it right now. And it's a lot of pressure on your personality. So now it's like, I just gotta keep doing, because it's like, that's just who I'm supposed to be.
So hence why when you asked me what is vulnerability, I mentioned openness and authenticity, because I think
that's a good word.
I think it's like you said, you've got now, there's a pressure on your personality, so everyone knows you as this person that is like happy-go-lucky, and there's gonna be a time, there's gonna be a point, there's gonna be something that's gonna trigger you to be like, I can't keep up this performance, you know. And I think we need to embrace the fact that you're allowed to feel different emotions on the entire spectrum. You know, you can be a bubbly person but also have like days where you're not person.
You're just quiet,
but that is also 100% authentically you know.
And I think like what you're saying is super important, and I think it probably also comes back to the point of making sure that your space around you allows you to go through all of those emotions. Are you allowed to actually, you know, just be quiet in that space, or is it not a safe space for you to actually be like, guys, I actually am feeling down, I'm feeling like I'm on zero right now. I'm going to be in your space, but like that's where I'm at. Is the space around you, will it allow you, you know, to, or even encourage you to actually be in that space of like, okay, cool, friend, feel that emotion, it's okay, I'm not going to feel some type of way now. That's really good. I think even with me, I think just sometimes, I think, you know, when you have friendships where it's like, I can be all aspects of myself and they still like, nah, friend, I understand. That is a blessing. That is such a blessing to be able to know that I'm not going to speak to you for like 2 months, but when I come to speak to you, it's like we're on the same vibe, you know? I think there's something beautiful and about like such friendships. It's just like just being in a space where it's like I can be so comfortable. Would you say you have that around you, a good space?
I've been on a bit of a healing journey couple years back, or like let's say a year back, and I think just through going through certain things and learning what type of personalities are important to have around me, to not just be there for me to vent, but also put me in my place. Like to be like, listen, but your attitude then, listen, but you need to just adjust yourself there a little bit. I think I found it important to have a specific support structure, and also realizing that one person can't be everything. You know, you really have to be wise with, okay, this person is really good in this aspect, so I'm gonna draw closer to this person, and this person is really good in this aspect, and I'm gonna allow myself to be influenced by that person, because they've got a lot of wisdom and a lot of growth in this specific area. So I've learned the value in diversity, with having different types of people come around you, and like that's true. Even with age and all of that is really good. I agree with you. I think having just amen. I always hear this line that Adrienne says, and it used to annoy me because I was like, no, it's not. She used to say, birds of a feather flock together. So and what I got from it was, if you're around people who are not growing, you're also not going to grow. You know, like whatever, if you are around a certain type of vibe, you're also going to become that vibe type of situation. And at first I never got it until I got it. And it's so true, and it's what you're saying. It's that you need to surround yourself with like different type of people who, one, can put you in the place like
but like, you know, with love, like put you in the place, like, friend, this is not your personality. Why, what's happening? You know, people who can see you've changed, but people also who can like sow into you. People who are, you know, like wise and biblically as well, and look like someone who can, I guess, mentor vibe as well. Having different type of people surround you encourages growth in you. You learn and you're not stuck, but also people who can actually see when you're changing, whether it be for the worse or for better, but also people who can actually guide you in certain things. You get what I'm saying? Like people where it's like, actually this is a safe space for me to say, I actually feel stuck, guys, let's grow together, let's read the Bible together, let's do something. You get what I'm saying? It's a good thing to actually have different people around you, so that you can actually, one, not be stuck, but also recognize where it's like, actually I'm not myself right now, I don't know what's happening, and recognize, actually I'm feeling stuck right now, I'm not moving in whatever aspect of your life. But it allows you to actually do a lot of introspection, which is good, because you never want to be comfortable all the time. You want to grow. I think that's really good. Would you say, not even would you say, what area would you say you've definitely grown in?
I actually want to start with an area that I'm busy growing in, if I could. An area that, and I think I'm going to speak to my females when I say this. I recently I need to use my words wisely, but I recently stopped seeing someone that I actually deeply cared for. Didn't say it much, but felt it a lot. And after not seeing them, I went through a roller coaster of emotions, and I was like, I'm such a girl. I didn't even know I could get like this. No, seriously, like I would be fine one moment, and then as soon as like a thought crosses my mind, I'm like, it's like,
deep in.
No, really, like getting to my head, I didn't even know I could be like that. You know what I mean? So I've been going through a roller coaster of emotions, and what I've realized, an area that I've actually prayed God mature me in, is not allowing my emotions to run my day. So it's not a thing of not feeling my emotions. It's not a thing of not dealing with my emotions. It's a thing of not allowing it to run my day. And I had to go through the process where it was running my day to get to a point where like I don't want this to run my day. Like I need to learn how to actually check myself and manage myself.
Have your moment. Okay, cool. This is your moment. And then move.
And also processing that with God and kind of figuring out that process, like just like what does that look like. Journaling is a beautiful thing. Different strokes for different folks. So in my case, I can't, with the rate at which I'm feeling my emotions, my hand can't keep up.
Like, bawling out.
You know, like I'm just gonna add. So something I'm learning is to manage my emotions and to not allow it to run my day. And it's not a thing of suppressing. There's really a fine line between that, because when you start to suppress, it's like you're allowing a fungus to grow like under your skin, and you're not, you know. So I do have my support structure. And it really comprises of like two people that really know me inside out, and there is where I really unleash and open up my heart completely, and just like it's people that where I don't have to worry about what I look like or being judged, and I can really just like I can really run my mouth and they're like, okay, let's just, there was no filter in that moment. Let's just run it back. So I've really, by the grace of God, I've really had the privilege of having that built around me. But I also just came to a point where like this is why I said like it's important to allow yourself to feel different spectrums of emotion, and it doesn't take away from the person that you are. But back to the point, which is not allowing my emotions to run my day. And I think us as females, it's a beautiful thing that we are tapped into our emotions and we are tapped into our intuition. It's a beautiful thing. It's a powerful thing. And on the other side of that, beauty can be quite not dangerous, but it can be quite reckless. And I think there's where we need to manage it. So by that I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Not being able to see this person. There were days where I couldn't walk. I couldn't think straight. Like I'm sitting and I'm just like, I can't.
You can't.
I'm not. There were times where I would like have meetings and just before meetings I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Hi, I'm Nikita and I'm feeling a 10 today.
I'm a 10 today. This day is so great.
You know, so there were really days where I was like,
I can't right now.
Back, I'm checking out like, Nikita, you letting yourself go. You need to really get it together. But I thank God for those moments because I look back and it's because I've gone through that I was like, you know what, Nikita, like I can't allow my emotions to stop me from my responsibilities I've got. And I need to show up to my responsibilities, and this goes beyond work. This goes
That's very true.
For relationships, like especially family relationships, friendships. I don't know if you guys experience this, but I tend to isolate when I'm feeling all these powerful emotions because I'm actually scared of what you're gonna see and what you're gonna experience. So I tend to isolate and I tend to push away. And I'm learning that is actually a habit that I've picked up growing up, and I'm learning to open up and actually be like, wait, let me not push you away. I'm gonna tell you that I'm maybe not the best version of myself right now. So I might not bring the Nikita you used to see, but I'm gonna still talk to you. I'm still gonna have you.
That's so good.
And it goes for any type of like relationship. I'm not just talking about romantic relationship. I'm actually talking about in general.
That's very true.
So back to just like not allowing my emotions to run my day, not allowing my emotions to isolate myself. That is actually a habit. And actually acknowledging my emotions when I am feeling it. Finding a place where I'm like, okay, today was quite a heavy day. Let's sit and unpack this real quick. Why am I feeling heavy? Where did that come from? And usually for me, it came from a thought, and then I need to go back and I need to go and analyze my thoughts. So I got this thought, right? Okay, where did this thought come from?
Exactly. Why? So good to go back. It's so good to go back.
And listen, I don't get this right all the time. I'm still learning how to, especially when it's towards a specific person. I'm learning how to manage that. I'm learning how to be like, you can't just allow these powerful emotions to attack someone. You need to manage it. Especially as a woman, like I think our emotions are so powerful. It's beautiful. It's put in place there for a reason. But we also, with great power comes great responsibility. So we need to. It's equally as beautiful when you can manage it, and when you can. What I'm trying to look for is not restrict, but when you can not control, but really have a healthy relationship with your own emotions. Like sometimes
exactly that.
Your emotions feel like it's another person.
Who is that?
So this is what I'm really learning, and this is what I'm wrestling with myself. And
that's so good.
It was triggered by coming out of not being able to see someone that I was being pursued by, or I was pursuing, however you want to look at it. But that for me has been a very vulnerable state. I'm personally very scared of people seeing me vulnerable, and by vulnerability I mean seeing when I share my feelings. You did this and this is how it made me feel. Like that sentence right there,
that's hard. So much. It's so hard. I'm literally the type of person who I'll message you, switch off my phone, put it away, and then be like, oh, please don't answer, please don't answer, please don't see it. Yes.
And then you switch it on, you're like, what's singing? It's vibing.
Exactly. And you're like, oh, please tell me you understood what I was saying. 100% agree.
After the conversation, you go back and you're like, yo, I could have said that, I could have said that.
Exactly. I think after you do that, you actually realize how much easier it is. Like, it's like, why was I even worried? Because I think a lot of the times it's because you anticipate someone's reaction, and so now you're in that panic mode of, I know what they're gonna say, or sometimes I don't know what they're gonna say. So now you're like in the mood, and then the response is like something completely different, and it's like, oh. Exactly. Yes.
You know what? For me, it's like I'm opening up my heart, and it's scary.
Yes.
It's so scary to reveal to someone like, oh, by the way, so that goes down.
Exactly. And you don't want to lose people either. It's like, oh my word, please tell me you understand. So that is like, you never want to change the dynamic either. So it's like, I never want to be like, you know, like this bothered me, and then now you're like, oh, okay, cool, then we might as well not even be not be friends, but like okay, fine, then I won't be speaking about that anymore. Like, no, like I'm just saying, you know, this is where I'm at at this moment. I'm not saying don't make jokes anymore. I'm not saying, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that day that annoyed me.
And another thing that I've picked up about myself, and I don't know if you guys can relate or you can relate, is after I'm vulnerable with someone, I shut down, and I'm really trying to not allow that. So if I was like in a close relationship with you, and this goes for any like a capacity, and something happened where I'm left vulnerable to now expose the side of me, I shut down, because in my head I'm like, yo, this person don't like me no more. Like, it's over. Like, this person hates me, and I'm just gonna run away. This is me running away from my own feelings. And you know,
and it really runs you, eh?
Yeah, it does ruin. It ruins, because it feeds your overthinking.
Exactly.
It feeds your the pessimistic like way of just, you know, it's just a negative voice that you constantly experience. So for me, a managing tool is to simply to take a breath, breathe, and sit and think through my emotions. So to feel it, to let it out in a healthy way, as healthy as I can, and then come back to it and be like, okay, so this is what I was feeling, this is why I was feeling it. And I think a good question to ask is to think about what happened and pick out moments that made you feel a certain way. So this moment made me feel like this, you know, to really unpack it, especially when you're speaking to the next person. And I think another,
that's so good.
I think just one last thing I want to mention is I tend to like so when we get into a space, when I'm in relation with someone, and we get into a space where we're now starting to get real with one another, where we're like, okay, you said this and it made me feel this way, I tend to like test out the waters, like, okay, let's talk about this. And a lot of the times it's things I've assumed, and then this person clarifies and it's actually not that, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'm not going to talk about feelings, it's fine, it doesn't matter anymore. It goes away. And then later on I think about it and I'm like, I should have just told this person, man. I should have just, you know, because it isn't a big deal. You know? So that's also something that that I'm learning to manage and grow through. And it's really, these areas are really what I've asked Holy Spirit to help mature me in. Not that I'm saying I thought I was the most mature, but I was just saying, like, I thought, okay, I'm a bit grown. So I thought I had these covered. I thought, nope.
Exactly. No, that's so true that you mentioned that, because I think, and it's maybe important to highlight the fact that you'll never get it right. I think it's a journey that you go on, and you keep learning, and it's trial and error. You know, at some point where you feel like, actually, I got my stuff together right now, and then it's like, boom, next thing, you're like, what? How am I in this place? Like, you know, like sometimes where you're like, okay, cool, now I've dealt with this emotion, I actually understand why this is happening. Okay, cool. And then it's like another thought comes in, like, no, I actually don't understand, I don't know where I'm at. So it's important to notice that, like, you know, it's a journey. And so one thing I've been doing, I've been reading this book by Sarah Jakes Roberts.
Beautiful.
Jakes Roberts, Women Evolve. And it's such a good book. I know Musa's promoting another book that she's reading, but I'm going to promote that book. Women Evolve by Sarah Jakes Roberts. It's such a good book. But she speaks on, like, you know, like, I think what it really encourages introspection, and I think a lot of the times a lot of people don't do that. We focus more on, like, you are not a great friend, you are not doing this, and so that's why I feel this way or whatever. But sometimes it actually takes introspection to figure out, wait, one, am I being a good friend? Two, are you actually, because of something that happened a long time ago, you actually react to certain actions, not because they're actually being mean, but because that's a sensitive place for you. So then that's exactly, so that's one thing where she really touches on, like, introspection. And I think for me, it's something that I had to, like, recognize. Like, for me, one thing that it's very touchy for me is, like, friendships. And so I've realized sometimes, like, because of a friendship that I had, and it was like a friendship that I really valued, that kind of ended so abruptly that I was like, oh, I have no idea what just happened. But because I never had answers as to why it ended, you obviously have to, like, make up your own answer. Like, okay, cool. Is it because I was a terrible person? Is it because maybe, and this was the loudest voice that I had in my head was, is it because I actually wasn't there? Like, you know, when I always thought, maybe I thought that I was their friend, but actually I don't think they thought that I'm their friend. You know, when you in my mind I was like, oh wait, I had this all wrong, like you actually didn't see me as a friend. Like that was more my thought. So then I always used to thought, am I placing too much value, English, am I overly valuing myself in their life, type of
yes,
you get my English, so now that was my thought process. So to the point where it actually affected all my friendships, in that is that really my friend? Even friendships where it's like I've been friends with for long, now it's like, what if I think that we're really good friends, but in their mind we're actually not good friends? So now I get to the point where it's like I'm going to draw back because I don't want to be too much, because so now I'm like, okay, cool, so I'm not gonna message you so many times during the day because I don't know where we stand right now, even though the person's done nothing to me. So then to the point,
it's like a test. Like for me, it is a test. So I draw back to see, like, are you giving the same effort? Are you giving the same,
exactly.
You know, and a lot of the times when I think in our minds it's like, oh, I'm drawing back. Oh, okay, you're not doing what I've expected you to do. And on their side it's like, why is she drawing back? Oh, okay, she's probably busy. And
exactly that. Oh my word, exactly. And I think that's what I had to realize is, like, I think and one thing's very important is to counter a thought that you have, because I overthink a lot, and I overthink assuming other people's thoughts. So now I have to counter that. So one thing I've actually had to, like, and I'm glad that I've grown out of, because it was really affecting my friendships to the point where I'm just like, I'm not gonna, like, I couldn't call some people my friends. I know you my friend, but I'm not going to call you my friend because you haven't said I'm your friend. So I feel like if I call you my friend, on your side you might be feeling like, no, actually you're not my friend, because it's now a thought in my head. So it was hard for me to call people my friends unless you say I'm your friend. So it will be like, oh, you hang out with Nikita the whole time. Oh, she's your friend.
We didn't get to that
exactly. Even though I know we're friends, you might have probably been like, bro, you like my best friend or whatever. But in my mind, I'm like, I never want to
know.
Exactly. And it's like I never want to be in the same situation where I was in, where I overvalued myself in your life. So now it's like I'm actually gonna allow you to rather tell me what this friendship's like, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, now we're good friends. Now we're friends. Like that. So I've had to learn to counter the thought. So you know, like sometimes it's like you message someone and they don't reply, and then you're like, oh, now you're having all of these thoughts, but then I counter it. okay, but like, how do you know if they don't have work? Usually when you don't answer, you have work. So why is it different now? Or countering with okay, so then if you, like, you know, if you haven't spoken in a while or whatever, and you don't want to send a message, and then you're feeling some type of way, I'm like, no, then send the message. Send the message, see what response you get. And if it's the response you thought you were going to get, cool. If it's different, better. You know? And every single time that I counter whatever thought is in my head, it's always a different response. So in that way, I'm actually breaking what I'm thinking. So now I am actually, you know, getting to the point where it's like, so if I feel like, oh no, this person never wants to speak to me, and then I message you, and then the person comes with so much energy, now it's like I can't have that thought anymore, because now you've broken it, because it was an assumption that I made in my head. And so now that's what I'm trying to do at the moment, and I've definitely grown in it. Thank you, Lord. Because it's like, you know, learning how to counter thoughts in your head, and just actually understanding that sometimes it's not even the other people that's the problem, it's more the fact that someone else has hurt you, and so now you're projecting those things, and you're making it harder, if anything, for people in your life to actually just be supportive or be there for you, because you're like, no sir, there's a wall.
And also another thing is, sometimes you pulling back for your own reasons, and when that action is mirrored, for whatever reason, you assume, okay, they're doing the same thing I'm doing, you know. And then when you talk about it, you sit down. I'm speaking from experience. When you talk about it, and you're like, yeah, but you did this, and then you realize, oh,
not what I. It's not at all what I thought. Like,
oh
wow, crazy.
Now I just need to chill, bro. I just need to relax.
That is so true.
But it definitely is a deeper work is needed there, because it definitely comes from a place that's triggering a sensitive place that you haven't yet dealt with.
And it's important to do, and that's why, oh gosh, there's nothing I hate more than the Instagram post of cut them out your life, move on.
And
it's so toxic. Exactly. And I think it's so toxic. One, I mean, if someone's not there for you, I understand cutting them out of your life, but I feel like we're skipping all the other steps that's necessary before you get to that place. Like, I think sometimes we focus too much on other people or the negative people, that it's like, do a bit of introspection. Do a bit of like, you know, okay, cool, this is what's happening. Okay, actually, this person's reacting in that way because I did this, maybe. Or what if that person is going through the most right now, you know? Sometimes people draw back because they're going, like, for example, if you and I are, like, you know, we speak every single day, and like what you're saying now, you draw back. If you draw back and I'm like, oh no, Nikita doesn't answer me anymore, so I'm gonna cut her out of my life because she never. Check in on the person. Yo, are you okay? You actually haven't you know. I think do the part that you need to do till you get to the place where it's like, okay, no, this is actually one-sided. I think it's time for me to leave. And it doesn't have to be toxic. You don't have to block someone. You don't have to like delete them out of your life. It's literally just making a conscious decision of, okay, cool, I'm not going to give as much effort as I used to anymore, but I still love you. If ever you need anything, I'm there for you. Exactly, but I'm going to keep my distance type of vibe.
I think the key in what you're saying is clarity. I think this is something I'm finding quite important in any type of dynamic relationship. Same gender relationship or opposite gender relationship, in whatever capacity, is clarification. Sometimes I don't get it right all the time, but it's in the forefront of my mind, is clarification. Do not assume the other person's thoughts or intentions or actions.
It's hard though, because I have the answer in my head.
And it makes it worse when it's like, your actions are proving like you know? You being but yes, clarity is so important. I almost want to emphasize this in saying, especially when it's the other gender. Especially when it's the other gender, you need to not assume if you are assuming something, come in a capacity of, hey, this is what I was thinking, but I'm offering this to you as clarify this for me. You know, like, this is what I thought, but like, just tell me, am I correct in thinking this? Yes or no.
Exactly.
Something I'm really learning to do.
And if I'm off, let me know. Then we move on, type of thing. 100%.
But just to bring this back, all of this takes openness and takes authenticity, and I feel like that falls under vulnerability.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think everything is. I think, and even with growth comes vulnerability. I think in order for you to grow, you definitely need to be in a vulnerable place. Yeah. And I think vulnerability is probably something you need to do almost every day. Just being open with yourself, being truthful with yourself. I think just being honest and understanding your feelings. I think one of the greatest things one can do for themselves is being self-aware. I think understanding that actually I get triggered when these things happen. Actually, I don't like it when this happens. You know, being self-aware in actually understanding that the way I interpret some things is actually not healthy, and getting to the point where it's like, actually at this point I might need help, whether it be speaking to someone, whether it be you know, reading a book that's gonna help you, you know, go through these things. I think that's one thing that I really enjoy about the book that I'm reading, the Woman Evolve book, is the fact that it actually gives you tasks and challenges. So it's not just reading, you're done, but it's actually like after a chapter, okay, cool, let's put this into practice, and then you actually go through, you know, those things. And I think it's very important to dig deep into yourself and realize this is who Tshidi is. Tshidi actually likes this, but sometimes she doesn't like it when this happens. And then actually getting to the point where it's like, let's dig deep. Actually, where does all of these things stem from? And so I think being vulnerable probably requires you to, number one, sit with yourself and tell yourself, okay, cool, now's the time for me to be honest. And in honesty comes growth. It comes understanding yourself. I think that's very important, is to understand yourself and embracing yourself.
Especially the ugly. The beautiful parts of yourself is quite important to embrace, but the ugly parts as well. And I'm saying the ugly parts as well because there's where your point of growth starts. When you acknowledge what's happening. Exactly. You, by ignoring what's happening, by ignoring your feelings, by ignoring, you know, it's just a ripple effect of things spilling over. If you ignoring the fact that you're hurt with a specific situation, it's going to spill into other things. And it's just going to have this ripple effect. And now you're having to do damage control because you didn't go to the source of what is causing all of this. You know, like, why am I on edge today? Why am I snippy? You know, it's because I didn't deal with the breakup I had a couple months back. And now suddenly I'm suddenly feeling heavy. I'm suddenly feeling, because you know, it's something. And something I'm also learning is the body is quite the body follows the mind, and the body doesn't
literally thinking the exact same way. I was about to mention that. Go on.
The body follows the mind, and it doesn't know when you're making a joke or not. It doesn't know if you know. So if your mind is telling your body, like, if there's a traumatic experience where you're having to I don't know, where you've had a falling out with someone in any capacity, hey, your body remembers that trauma, and if you don't sit with it, you don't deal with it within yourself, a couple months down the line, someone says something happens, there's a situation, and like suddenly you're reacting, and you're like, sure, like that was so out of character, that's so out of, like, where does that come from? You know, and then you didn't sit with yourself and actually deal with what just happened.
You know? That is so true.
Take the time to go through your emotions. And especially, I actually want to point this out, especially for my guys. My guys have this, I want to really talk to my males, because they've got this thing of, I need to carry everything.
I can walk it off.
Walk it.
Stop walking things off, guys. Stop walking it off. Holy hell. I 100%. I think, what was that? Oh yes, I was going to say, I think we need to understand the fact, and what you're saying, like, the mind and the body. You might tell yourself you are okay, and it's fine that you can tell yourself that lie. You might believe that lie, but your body understands what it feels. If that's why I think sometimes you might act in a totally irrational way and you don't understand, because your body still feels that trauma, that hurt, that pain. Whether or not you are going to admit it to yourself, you might be lying to yourself surface level, but your body knows what it's feeling. So it's so important to actually just stop saying everything is fine. It's not fine. The fact that you're thinking about it means it's eating you up inside, you know. Like, I think, and especially with guys, I think a lot of the times maybe it's the fact that like there's no one to be vulnerable to without them thinking it's you being less of a man, or them thinking, yo dude, like get your emotions, like bro, what you doing? And I think it's so important for guys to even find that you know, the place to outlet, because the more you keep it in, it's really it's something that I actually mentioned on the live that we have on the Insta. It's the fact that like when you don't deal with issues, they morph into something else.
That's very scary. It's very scary.
And if you might be dealing with surface things and you might be out here like, okay, cool, no, now I'm not going to be angry anymore. It's fine. I'm not going to hit things or blah, blah, blah. But then it's going to morph into something else. And then you might be dealing with a surface issue because it's just the top part. I'm just going to put makeup over it. I'm all right. It morphs into something else. But also inside, you deteriorating. Like you actually, when you go back, you feel sometimes heavy. You don't even know why, because you're not dealing with stuff. Your body's feeling all of those emotions. It's things that you know for a fact bothers you, but in order for you not to cry, not to be emotional, or not to be vulnerable, you lie to yourself to accept a situation that you shouldn't actually accept. You should be actually saying, no, I hate this. No, this is actually something that shouldn't be happening. I'm going to deal with this or whatever. It's bringing yourself to that point. And it's so good for you. Like, it really is good for you. And that's why I think self-awareness is so important. And when you're self-aware, you actually need to respect yourself enough to go through those emotions and actually help yourself to deal with that.
I wanna say, when you go through your emotions and you're managing it and you're doing in a healthy way, and that's another topic of conversation to talk about. But I'm just going to mention that for now. When you just open up your heart and you sit with yourself and like, you know what, this is what I'm feeling. This is actually what I'm feeling in my heart. Your bounce back time is your healing time is so much quicker.
It is,
you know? And I really just want to I actually want to broaden the conversation to our guys about vulnerability. Actually had a friend that was talking about a love interest he had. He was in a friendship situation with someone he grew up with for 5 years, and he had waited on her. And he really loved her, really loved her. And he was telling me that he was explaining to me all the emotions he was feeling, and then he was telling me versus what he did, you know. So I was just sitting here, I was just thinking, like, you know, I want to say, like, obviously this has been a cultural thing. We all know the stigma, men can't feel emotions and stuff like that, which is not true. To feel emotions and talk about it is human. It's not a female thing.
Exactly.
And there isn't anything wrong with admitting to my guys. I really feel for my guys, because there's this expectation that you need to carry the load, all the time, and you need to be I don't know. There's just like this heaviness. That I really feel for my guys. Like, and you know.
No, 100%.
And then I feel like there's like one time in the year where you like, you cry and then you're done for the next like the next like
the cap it tight job. We're never gonna have that emotion again.
But I just want to emphasize to my guys that feeling heartbroken, feeling betrayed, feeling like this is not working, or you know, those are human emotions. It's not female emotions. You're not a robot.
It doesn't make you weak either. I think if anything, you're creating such a I don't want to say a cold heart, a hard heart. when you hold all your emotions in, because then you get to the place where it's like, because you're not dealing with it, it's like, I never want to feel that emotion either again, because you haven't dealt with it. Now it's like, I actually never want to be in that situation, so now I'm going to do everything in my power to avoid that. But that might mean you hurting other people along the process. And you need to feel. I
also want to mention to the guys, it's quite important to have a strong brotherhood or brotherhood, a brotherhood that will help you in this
and allows you to be.
I'm not saying go and get yourself some female friends and talk about like, why does ladies like, I actually think it's quite important for males to surround themselves into group and to allow males to be vulnerable in front of other males. But for females, this is very easy. Like this, we've been doing this.
Exactly. We've been on the phone, your friend, like this was happening.
You know, but it's not uncommon. It doesn't make you female as a man. It doesn't make you more feminine when you're admitting to your emotions. Just to come back to my point where it's quite important to build that and to find that within your circles. It's it really some men I'm not speaking for all men. I just want to humble myself here. I'm not a man, so I'm not going to assume emotions or generalize, but it can build into, like you said, bottling all these emotions can morph into something else. You know, it can become a bigger monster. But again, just driving my point home, which is for my guys, you know, like really, you know, come together and be a brotherhood that uplifts and you know keeps you guys in check. You know, like, you know, let's let kings train kings. You know, I'm really that's just something that I've been feeling. I think vulnerability could be a good conversation with guys as well.
No, I would really love this conversation to continue in with guys also. It's a very good topic. But guys, I think if you have any males in your friend group, in your family, like close to you, I think it's a good conversation to have with them, and even just to like get where their heads at, like why, like what do you actually feel when you're like, I actually can't share this emotion with someone, like what's going through your mind. I think that's a really good conversation. Thank you so much, Nikita, for joining us. I think I love always talking to you, and the wisdom and our wavelength is always the same. Listen, gosh. Same. Thank you so much for watching as well, guys. I think the next conversation is definitely we try and get our males on this. Absolutely. It's not the stage, but like on this section. There we go. We need to get our males out here and just have a really good conversation of actually about anything and more, like, you know, not even just vulnerability and growth, but just in general, like understanding their thought process, I think would be really good. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching us, and again, leave comments, any questions you have, and remember to like and subscribe. Our battery is dying. Satan will not win. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Wishing Musa healing, love, and catch you guys next time. All right, bye.
It started.
Is it your hectic? Okay, let's go. I'm ready. Let's do this.
Very good.